Hello, welcome to another edition of Prove All Things. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or X, or on the CGI Digital Network app, whether that's on your phone, tablet, or television. Thank you for watching. I'm joined with co-host Mike James. How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Jeff, good to see you. How's everything there in Atlanta?
Everything's going great. I'm sure everything's good for you now.
Yeah, everything's okay up here at the beginning of July, almost halfway through the year.
Yeah, this is a pre-recorded program. We'll be playing this a little bit later than when we record it, but we do welcome everybody to this, and definitely encourage everyone to leave your comments as well as the program airs. All right, so what we're going to go do is go ahead and get into our host, because we have a limited time, and so to our guest, and we will welcome John Aldenborough. How you doing, John?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Well, it's good to have you on the program. You're, I guess, first time to the program. So usually what we do is we ask anyone first time to give us a brief background of who you are, where you're from, and your and your relationship to the Church of God, if that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. So I came into the Church of God back in the late 80s when Herbert Armstrong was still alive. I got his Plain Truth magazine. My mother actually brought it home one day. Got reading that. And for a couple of years, I couldn't do anything about it really until I went to university, my early 20s. And so I had some freedom to attend the church in Canada. And so I got with the Worldwide Church of God back in Canada in the late 80s. So that's my beginning. And then a few Churches of God later, independent for a few years, which actually was a kind of a growth thing, being able to think for yourself and to do your own research with the time on your hands. So here I am. And so with the time on the hands, I've been able to study subjects which most church people don't even think about studying, or they're too afraid to study. And so we'll get into that today.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to what you have to cover. Something I'm definitely interested in quite a bit. So I kind of follow the news here and there of what's going on in this particular, I guess, ideas that are out there. So definitely, definitely interested in what you have to say. I think some of what we're saying is based on a book. I think you've written a couple of books.
Yeah,
correct?
so one of the books, and I've read this one, Angels as Aliens, Orbs, Myths, and Ghosts. We're going to base some of our conversation today upon this book. So if people want to get it, that's the title by John Aldenborough. And interesting read. Again, a lot of information in there about the subject matter we're going to get into today. Again, it's a controversial subject. I worked in the federal government over 33 years. I worked at the National Reconnaissance Office on a rotational assignment for a couple of those, 2.5 of those years. So I'm well aware of some of these guys that are out in the public sphere right now from the U.S. federal government who are talking about various programs that supposedly were being run and what may have been involved in those programs. But we're going to let John kind of lead the conversation, and Jeff and I will just be peppering you with questions.
Yeah, well, we'll be putting our thinking hats on to come up with some good questions for you, hopefully.
Sounds good.
All right. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All right. Do you want me to just start talking? Or do you got some questions? How do you want to do this?
Well, I guess I can ask a question to get it started. I mean, so what is the reason you wrote that book? There, what was your thoughts behind it?
Yeah, let me just lead into that. So I've been when I've been have my time on my own to think about things, I got thinking about magic. And I was meeting I was at the time I wasn't married. I'm married now. And I was dating this girl, and she said that something. She was attending a church. She was going to these revival meetings, in which there was glory cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about gemstones being created in this, at the revival meetings, in this mist, in this cloud that they would have. And it was like a heavy feeling, and they would find gemstones there.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, how do you know that's from God? She said, it must be from God because only God can create things.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, really? And so that got me studying about magicians and magic, like real black magic.
Okay.
And so this led into this book that I had to study about what can evil spirits really do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like the beginning of this book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had a long history there with the UFOs. I've been to Laughlin, Nevada UFO conference in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend there that I met on one of Zachariah's trips. And he runs a bookstore in California, actually, which he doesn't seem to be running it anymore. But anyways, on UFOs. And so this UFO conference that I met him there. And so I've been studying about the aliens and that. And I put all these things together about the magic and the aliens. And that's the lead into this book, my interest in what can spirits really do.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the church's purposes, I guess, there's a movie out right now by Steven Spielberg that's pretty popular that gets into some theories about, what are these aliens, what are UFOs, et cetera, et cetera. And so what I'm getting from you, John, is you're talking about, and in this book also, you not only get into the alien aspect of this with possibly demonic powers, but other things that are happening in the world, like in some of these evangelical churches. I read about a fella in here, an evangelical pastor, who's talking about being teleported to other locations on Earth, and certain dust particles falling within some of these revival meetings that I was reading about. And then I did a little research online and found some of these preachers out there who seem to be pushing something that to me sounds like demonic power. So can you speak to that a little bit as we move forward?
That's the tip of the iceberg. There's so much of this church people who are experiencing these supernatural events. What was that fellow's name? It's Supernatural. What's his name? And he had a show on this. Ross, maybe something. Okay. There's so much of this, and there's real things happening at churches. And you can't deny it. I have close friends, and one of the stories that I referenced from the Joshua Mills book, in which he claims these angels follow him around.
Who is Joshua Mills, just for folks out there who don't know that name?
Joshua Mills, he has wrote his own couple books on angels. He's all about angels and what angels can do, and commanding angels. And he commands his angels, and they show up as blue ghosts that he can see at churches, and they're swirling around in the ceiling. And it's very real. And so one of the examples in the book I wrote that he talked about, and he got a video, and I was just listening very carefully to the video, being transported to China.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he seems to think it's very real.
Right.
Yeah. I read that. And listen, I was unaware of this particular individual, Jeff. I looked him up on the internet, and I started viewing some of his videos, and by golly, he says that. What John says in his book, that's what the guy says on his video.
Hey, also, like, related to this, have you looked into like some of these sightings that the Catholics have had of like Mary, where thousands of people will see an apparition of Mary in the sky, or there'll be a statue that's like bleeding and stuff like that?
Yes. That goes back to who wrote that book? What's the name of the book? I've read so many UFO books, but yes, Mary bleeding. So he got statues of her crying olive oil from her eyes from a portrait, and the Fatima apparition over there in Spain with the UFOs and the UFO spinning like the sun. These girls from Fatima, Portugal, and when the witnesses talk about the sun spinning around, and so there's very real supernatural manifestations, and it's all over the board. It's a smorgasbord out there, and it's not fake. Some of these people don't believe in the supernatural, but it's not fake. And the UFO stuff is not fake. They're real technological ships out there. So
Yeah, well, we've seen videos, right? Recently, they've released. I mean, not the best videos, but they've released some videos recently by the government that have shown these different objects. And there's one that kind of look like a star type thing that look really, really freaky looking. Some of these things that they've released.
yeah, and one of the ways that I was able to make the conclusion I did in Angels is by listening to what people describe these objects in the sky. And one of the keys is when these objects can transform their shape. And normal aircraft don't do that. They don't. They can't transform.
Yeah.
So when you talk about transforming their shape, John, what specifically are you talking about? Because I've seen some of the videos. Now I've heard other eyewitness reporting, but what do you mean by the shifting of the objects into other forms?
Yeah, give us some examples, please.
Yeah, so I can think of the orbs, that these orbs of light, they can form a shape like it's the rim, the windows on the perimeter of a big, huge circular ship. And then these lights, they go zigzagging around, and it's no longer the apparition of a ship. One of the guys who described what he saw in the sky was like a big lasso, like a cowboy's lasso, and it formed this, what could be like a circular ship of these lights surrounding it. And then they just form different positions in the sky. But also more than that, there's one example. Another example, it was like a craft, and someone was watching it, and it shimmered, and then of course lots of them just disappear in the blink of an eye. So that tells you something about it, the interdimensionality of the ship. But I'm just trying to think that it actually transformed into a ball of light, but I'm just missing the details on that. But I know that there was something about the craft moving in the sky, and then it changed form, like it shimmered, and it either disappeared or turned into a ball of light. One of those things.
Yeah, you know what? When I was a child, me and my family, we were driving down the road, and we saw like one of these orbs in the sky. And what was weird is how it would move. Like it'd move real fast one direction, then completely change and go the other direction, and kind of go all over the sky. It didn't move like anything natural. From what I remember as a child seeing this thing, it was this very interesting looking orb that was flying around.
I got a great story over here. I'm in New Zealand. I'll tell that to the world. I'm in New Zealand at the moment. I've been here for a while. I got a great story. It goes back to about 10 years ago. I was down at there's a New Year's Eve celebration, and there's these orange balls of light that come in close to in Auckland, New Zealand. There's a sky tower, and there's fireworks every New Year's Eve. And I was out there at this dormitory for students where I lived at the time, and there's these orange balls of light comes in closely for a look. And there was like 4 or 5 of them, and they came in following the path of one of the streets, and then it flew out over the ocean. And it repeated this over and over again. And then there's helicopters that chase these orbs out over the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out my glasses at the time, and I looked at these balls of light, and I could see in behind the glow of the orange was a metallic craft. That's what I saw with my own eyes.
Hey,
Yeah.
let me ask a question. So if these are apparitions of angels or beings, why would the crafts be metallic or appear to be physical? Like what in your studies kind of got you to like think in that direction?
The studies is that the glow, they can create light, of course, being angels, because they're angels of light. And they don't even have to have a solid metallic ship behind the light. Often they don't, but they can.
Mm-hmm.
And when they want to, they can have real solid ships. And Timothy Good, in his books, he's got several UFO books, and these very good stories there about like some fellow comes up to one of these ships sitting on the ground, and he whacks it with a big axe, and it rings like a bell, very solid. And so my take on it is that they have ships, but they can also just float around the sky like a orb of light.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What would you think would be the thinking behind, let's say that what we're talking about is the demons, that fallen angels are masquerading as aliens, as they're providing miracles in some way to evangelical churchmen. What do you think the reason for that would be, John, from your understanding of the Bible, what you see in the Bible, and you see these different things, the things you've written about? Why would the demonic forces be doing this?
Right. So let me just go back to what Roger Morneau said in his Charmed by Darkness.
And tell the folks who Roger Morneau is, because that's an interesting story in itself. Just a brief.
Roger Morneau is a Canadian fellow from Montreal, Canada, and he got recruited into a spirit worshiping cult in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
And the satanic priest told him that in the 1700s, Satan and his spirit counselors decided that they're going to pretend to be aliens from far distant planets and far distant galaxies. That's what Satan told the satanic priest who told Roger Morneau. Mm-hmm. And so the reason, why would they have pretending that? Why would they do that? Well, you see, under the guise of being an alien, they can teach all kinds of antichrist ideas. They can have people whips into the new age, and you're listening to what the spirits tell you, because there's a close association between truly believing that aliens are aliens and the association with the occult and with psychics, and it's all related. Mm-hmm. And so this is the method that Satan has to get people away from the Almighty God who sits up on the throne up there into worshiping the Satans and his angels. It's about worshiping them. And the guise of being space aliens is a ruse. It leads you into the occult. It leads you into the Ouija board. That's a great method to contact UFOs, by the way. And that's one of the keys.
How so, John? I've never heard anything about I've heard of the Ouija board with the occult, but is there an angle to it with UFOs? I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, it's in the Angels book. I documented. Someone said, because so many things that you read, you kind of lose track of who said what. Yeah. But I remember the story, and the story is contacting with the Ouija board said, can you show yourself, the spirit who's talking through the Ouija board, can you show yourselves to me? And they said, yep, on such and such a day, go out and look in the sky. And sure enough, there was some brilliant manifestation of light in the sky. And so essentially the story is that the so-called aliens make appointments through the Ouija board. And so Preston, what's his name? Dennett? Preston Dennett, I think it is his name. Lots of UFO books he wrote.
Yeah, I got him here in your bibliography. Preston Dennett, Dennett. You've got a lot of his books mentioned here.
Yeah. UFOs over California, UFOs over all kinds of places in the States. Great author for researching this topic. But anyways, it was through one of his things that he mentioned about this, but making appointments to the Ouija board. And he said, I just don't know. What's the connection? Why would aliens use the same method as spirits through the Ouija board? What's the connection? I don't understand it. That's what he wrote at the time.
Hey, I saw this guy recently, and I think there's several people who do this, who they say they can channel aliens from these different parts of the universe or from different dimensions. Are you familiar with these people who say they can channel aliens? What is your thoughts on those folks?
Well, that tells you again, that's the origin, that's the identity of the so-called aliens. And it's so common about channeling that it's hard to get authentic information from I don't want the channel stuff because, the channel stuff, there's just so much of it. What's his name? The poor fellow. I said, David Wilcox. David Wilcox. I loved him so much. He's dead now, but he got his lots of channeling he's done. And he thinks that the Archangel Michael was, channeled some information and he wrote it down in some books. The channeling is just, it reveals the identity of the spirits who's being channeled when they pretend to be, oh, yes, we're the aliens from this far distant constellation. It's just so much that leads to the same conclusion.
Right. So I guess conclusion, you would say that everything like that involved UFOs, you say is definitely these are demonic. Like for example, there's people that I've seen that testified in Congress and said they've seen bodies of aliens, like dead bodies of aliens. I don't know if that's true or not. We haven't seen it or anything like that, and we don't know. But how would you explain that if there were those type of things?
I believe there are. I believe that the demons can create the bodies of little gray aliens. They can inhabit them. They can be shot. One case has the alien being shot, and they can even have the dead. I believe that the angels have that power to create this creature, and they can leave the dead body there.
There is again, I don't know for sure about that, but hey, the Bible does say that Satan will produce great lying wonders. So again, what does that entail? What does that mean? The idea that he gets people to believe that maybe the earth has been populated by an alien population long ago, and now they're coming back to earth in some way, or they're going to save the earth in some way. I've heard some theories out there in some of these books about that, John, that these alien cult groups, UFO cults, believe that the aliens are our original ancestors, that they populated the earth long ago, and that they want to come back and bring us into a golden age, similar to the idea of Jesus Christ coming back to do that. Any thoughts on that? You've read anything about that?
Yes. So at least 3 or 4 of the UFO encounters that I've read about, the aliens like to make up stories about their descendants came to Earth a long time ago before Adam and Eve. Their ships on the way from Mars, and they got crash landed on Earth. And the stories don't always line up. It's like different stories. But anyways, yes. And so Adam and Eve were the descendants of one of the crash survivors. So what they are doing there is that they're making it like humans, we are them, they are us, we're their descendants. And that actually led me into having to know about my other book, which we're not talking about today, is about the Sumerian Genesis and what Adam and Eve and where our origin really came from. Because a lot of the aliens like to spin these stories, and the purpose for doing that is that they want you to tap into your innate powers that God created you with, and we just got to help you to revive these innate abilities that you all have. And that, so basically you're relying upon them to give you supernatural powers, and so that's their gimmick. That's why they spin these tales about being Earth's ancestors, because they want you again to rely upon them for supernatural powers.
Now, when you say that, John, when we talk about again this evangelical minister, and when we talk about the Satanists that Morneau was involved with, some of these people believe that they do have humans believe they do have some sort of special powers that's coming from somewhere.
Well, all the spirit worshipers in Montreal with Roger there in the early 50s, they all know that the powers don't come from the people. It's not something inherent within themselves. It's only the spirits give those people the ability to do things like, what's the word? Astral projection. So you can see things at a distance, but it's not the person doing it. It's the spirit that's over there looking at something and relaying the information back to the person.
So explain a little bit for our audience, if they're not aware of this terminology, astro projection. Again, you hear that in New Age circles and in New Age religion. Could you address that a little bit, John?
Yeah, astral projection. So you're projecting your spirit body over some location so you can see things. Remote viewing, there's a good buzzword, remote viewing. And so as though you are actually seeing these things at a distance, and that's that ability, but that distance is only possible with the ability of a spirit who's actually doing the work. The person himself can do nothing.
Right.
Let me just tell you the story. This fellow, he was a Satanist. He was a witch. He called himself a witch. What's his name? I lost his name. It's in the book. But anyway, so when he renounced Satan, he had to give up all his spiritual powers. And one of the abilities he gave up was, I think it was foretelling the future and seeing auras around people. And I think maybe it was also reading people's minds. He couldn't read people's thoughts anymore. So these are examples of gifts of the spirit. The spirits give to people. Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned Roger Morneau, and I looked him up, saw some of his videos, and he's got books out there. Didn't he become a Seventh-day Adventist after his experiences?
Yes, he did. During his time at Montreal, he met up with a Seventh-day Adventist person, and he got convinced that Jesus was the way to salvation and not through Satan. And so, yes, he left the group. He joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and the spirits didn't like that at all. Yeah, that's true.
And so there's a lot of video of him being interviewed, I think, by some Seventh-day Adventists online, if people want to check out what he's got to say. Is that correct, John?
Yes, he's got some very good interviews still on YouTube, Roger Morneau, and very revealing. It's like one of the keys to unlocking the mystery is what the satanic priest told Roger, that Satan and his spirit counselors decided that they would pretend to be aliens in far distant galaxies. Thank you, Roger, who's now dead.
Gotcha. Something else I've thought about on this subject, John, you look through history, and, the UFO thing is very popular today. The early 1900s, Kevin Arnold and this idea of saucers, UFOs, et cetera, et cetera. But when we go back to the Middle Ages, we hear a lot of stories during that time frame of incubi and succubi, demons that would come and have sexual relations with human beings, or at least that's how the story goes. Do you think there's a thread going back through history? Let's go talk about the Book of Enoch around 200s BC, and this idea of angels having sex with women and a race of giants. That story, the incubi, the succubi, the UFOs, the New Age religions, and all the stories. Do you see a thread running through all of this, that throughout time, Satan and his demons have been trying to deceive mankind through these false narratives? Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely. There's the thread. It's the thread of pretending, of manifesting as creatures, incubi and succubi. That means, for the people listening, having sex with female or male spirits. That these female or male come into the night and they try to have sex with a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a theme that happened with the what's his Snowball in his books from Lucifer Dethroned. He again repeated that. Oh yeah, it's very common. Everybody knows it. In the when you worship the spirits, they would like to have sex with you, male and female. And so the theme goes way back.
Just to give the folks out there who may want to do further research, he's referring to William Schnoebelen. You spell that Schnoebelen. He's a prominent author on this particular subject that you've got in your bibliography here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's a modern fellow. He's still alive, and so he came out of Satanism. Oh boy, he was very, very dirty in what he was writing about. Meaning he was really into Satanism. Boy, oh boy. Anyways, the theme goes back to the Middle Ages of incubi and succubi. Now, only at the dawn of our modern times, that apparently, I want to quote from Jacques Vallée. Jacques Vallée is another key name. He said that the aliens, so-called, it's like they see, in his books, he's got a series, and so he documents about this. The changing of their manifestation depends upon the education and culture of the people at the time. And so as we approached our modern times, apparently Satan and his counselors decided that now was the time that they're going to be pretending to be these aliens from space. Prior to that, our modern time, prior to the scientific revolution, that people just wouldn't buy that. So they just pretended to be elves and fairies and sylphs and these leprechauns in the Irish lore. Mm-hmm. And so then they just do their mischief, not pretending to be a space alien at all. So yeah, adapt it with the time, with the culture and education of the people. But as the end of the age approaches, and as one of these biblical prophecies is going to happen that I believe is related to them pretending to be an alien coming down and showing himself to be God in 2 Thessalonians. And so Satan has to keep with the program and to introduce the alien element in our modern times.
Hey, that brings me a question, because you mentioned that. So there is this idea, because I guess like President Trump has said, hey, we want to release the files about what the government has about these contacts with aliens. They released some files of some really blurry, not really great images of alien ships or whatever, or UFOs or whatever people think they are. What do you think? Do you think that they're ever going to disclose what we would call the good stuff, like clearer images, pictures of bodies, like tangible evidence? Because I guess what we don't have is we don't have any tangible evidence right now of anything. It's just stories and people's what people have said and stuff.
Yeah. So the not good stuff is just, images of some naval jet, taking pictures of a Tic Tac zipping around. Well, that's kind of boring now. The good stuff is close encounters of a third kind, really seeing an alien and listening to what he says and that kind of thing. So are they going to do it? I downloaded some of the files that the Trump administration's released. I haven't examined them, but I did a few, and it's just these images in the sky of some object moving. That's not really the good stuff. So I'm hoping, well, not hoping, but I'm kind of anticipating that they will release, they might even introduce the alien, what's the word, partners or our brothers or our friends who's going to help us bring us into a golden age. So I'm kind of anticipating that they will introduce the so-called aliens as our friends, based upon largely because what the Bible says there in 2 Thessalonians, that one of them, I think, is going to show himself to be God.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the guys who have come out from the U.S. government, I think David Koresh or something along those lines is one of the names. And the other fella who does a lot of documentaries and programs he puts out, I think his name's Elizondo. Both of them, the one fella definitely was working in a program that was studying that, and no doubt about that. That's been confirmed. Yeah. But again, the fella Gresh, who was involved at the NRO, talks about talking to people who've told him about this. He didn't necessarily see the biologics, as they call them, the dead bodies of any aliens or anything like. He's heard the stories, though, is what he says. So again, I can see, though, incrementally that things are moving in that direction, that something like that could capture the attention of the world if it was some type of demonic manifestation that they provided. Hard evidence. I could see people being taken away by that and putting some doubt in the belief of God. Any thoughts on that theory, John?
Yeah. One of the things, I think there's something very mysterious going on with the last 4 years or so with the Trump administration making some promises, and it hasn't happened, but I think something is leading up in our future. And I want to mention the name of Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward presents himself as the official spokesman of the new quantum financial system that supposedly there's going to be a new financial system around the world. And he said this a couple of years ago, that it's going to be run or managed by off-world intelligences, something like that. And it just sent shivers down me, because I thought, well, isn't that something, that our new financial system is going to be run by aliens?
Is that what he meant?
He didn't say the word aliens, but he said off-world intelligence. What a guy. He just cuts things off, but that's what he was implying, is that the Space Brothers are going to be, with their quantum computing, is going to be running our new financial system.
So this fellow's name is Charlie Ward. I'll do a little search on him later.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, did you have some slides you wanted to present today? We've been asking you all these questions.
Yeah, I got some good photos that really shows you some of these, what I think are angelic ships. If you look at them, you go, that's very strange. Yeah, I got them ready to go when you're ready.
I got your screen up on this so people can see it, where it says Billy Meyer.
Yeah, so Billy Meyer, let me give you an intro on him. He's had alien contacts back to I think it's the 50s. He's really starting to publish things around the 70s. So he's in Switzerland. And now his representative, I don't think he speaks in English himself, but his representative in America, called Tom Horn, had an interview with the Redacted News just last month. And he shared these photos that I'm going to share with you. So they're on the website that Tom's got, which is "And They Fly," something like that. "And They Fly."
Okay.
So let me
Okay.
share some. Are you ready? Or
Yes.
Yeah, we're ready. But one quick question on this. There are a number of people like this fella, aren't there, in the world who say that they've had encounters over a long period of time with some type of alien life forms, right?
well, there probably is. There's just so much of this, but
Yeah,
I can't keep track of it all truly. But
I
Billy
understand.
is
Yeah.
famous because he's been going on. So he's got a famous name amongst the UFO community. If you go to any kind of
Okay.
a conference, they can reference Billy Meyer. A lot of the people say Billy faked it. I don't think he faked it. I think these are very real.
Okay. Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, theyflyblog.com is the official site with Michael Horn. And that's the
Okay.
interview link. You can watch the interview or you can watch these pictures.
Mhm.
Isn't this interesting?
Now that definitely looks interesting. What is this supposed to be?
This is supposed to be one of the ships, I think is one of the ladies in one of her ships that came on a visit one day. Supposed to be one of the classic ships that visited Billy.
Yeah.
This was taken
Is that an artist rendering, or is that
No.
something you said he took a picture of?
This is a real photograph.
Okay.
So
No.
just being a skeptic, I can see how someone could have created something that looks like this. Well,
Yeah.
give me some info, John, as to why you're putting some emphasis on this.
Yeah. To me, it looks like a cake pan or something. Really. Yeah.
It looks too fake, really.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think this is the angels' idea of what people would believe at the time, and maybe the 70s, of what a UFO would should look like. So this is what.
So is this photo from the 70s?
I believe it's from the 70s. Yes.
Okay.
So it's got strange. At the time they're talking about condensers, and the round circular objects could be condensers to help anti-gravity in their ship. And so they put some round balls.
You're also hitting that idea of a wheel within a wheel based on Ezekiel chapter 1 and, manifestation of angels or cherubim around the throne of God. But continue, please. I just wanted to comment.
Yeah. Speaking about the Ezekiel 1 and 10, there's no doubt that Satan and his angels study the Bible. Roger Morneau told us that.
Right.
And in part to duplicate the magic done in the Bible. It's part of what they do. Next slide. Here's same ship in the daylight. Notice the metallic silver color. They like this metallic silver color. I think that's Billy's house there. We'll have a close-up soon about this, but look at the detail on this. And it looks so... We wouldn't buy this as a UFO nowadays because we expect something more sophisticated. But at the time, look at this.
Yeah. You know what? It could be something he just made with some pie pans and some Christmas ornaments and spray paint. I mean, to me, I can't tell if that's real or not.
I get what Jeff's saying there, John. But are you saying that because this was in a different time, what are you saying about that has some impact here? Did you see the possibility here, John, that this could be something that was created by somebody human?
Well, I would say yes. I would say that's possible, but it would take quite a bit of effort to make that.
Sure.
But I do believe that this is exactly what angels could do to suit the education and culture of the people at the time. That this is what people would buy as an alien craft.
Are we to understand the size of this is in comparison to the house, or are we looking at something close up and the house in the background? Any thoughts on what they said about the photo?
Michael in the video said this was 15 feet from Billy's house in his front yard.
Okay.
So is that his house behind it, or is he taking it from his window in his house?
Yeah, I take it that this is his house and he's standing on the other side, projecting it towards the house.
Okay.
Okay, next slide. Close-up detail. Look at this. Look at the beauty. And you know what look how it's so silvery and it's round, it's curves. Oh, I want to mention this name. Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer, big name in ufology. He's given testimony and assistance to the congressman who's looking into the issue. And Steve said, well, we know it's, what's the word? Extraterrestrial because there's no rivets or seams. Therefore, it's the real deal.
That is interesting. The shape here of the orbs. But what are those red items there? Any idea what they're supposed to be?
I think this is real gemstones around the perimeter of the craft. I think it's real sapphire and ruby gemstones. And this is the origin of the multicolored lights that so often reported, the orbs of light in the sky.
Okay, so when we hear of reporting that the light is shifted to a different color, or there's more than one color associated with some of these things that people have seen,
well,
is that what you're getting at?
This is one explanation, is that there is a craft and the light's being projected through these gemstones, yes, of different colors.
Well, let me ask you this. Go ahead, Jeff.
I have a question because again, so this picture that's being shown on a website, do we have like evidence where this was in a book that was published in the 70s, or is this something how early have people seen this pictures? Is what I'd be curious to know.
So Michael says that there's he's got various films out. There's a new film. I should watch it soon. I don't know if there's books. There's likely books. I haven't bought any of Billy's books yet, but he surely has published this. But Michael Horn released this in his interview. So
again, John, I appreciate that. I had one question related to that. Again, we've got to ask these questions because we're about proving all things. But of the skeptics, of the other side of the coin on Meyer, have you read anything about critiques of Meyer or others who've looked at these photos who are saying something different? Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard specific criticism of these photos. I have heard of people saying that Billy faked it with pie plates and such.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to finish my thought here. So one origin for the lights, multicolored lights in the sky, could be a ship like this, projecting it through these gemstones, but also they don't even need the ship itself. Angels of light can project the light in the different hues of color. And I know that based upon my study of orbs. I have a section in the book on orbs of light. And these orbs can have like a person's face inside the orb. And the orb projects feelings of love. There's a fellow having a close encounter with an orb of light, and the orb came down and pretended to be his mother. And he felt great feelings of warmth and love being projected from the orb of light. And so the orbs of light are angels. And so that's another explanation for these multicolors of orbs, lights in the sky.
Okay.
The other thought I want to continue here is when I saw this, it reminds me of the story from Joshua Mills, who said that at these, one of the videos showed that an angel who can't be seen is manifesting, i.e. creating manna on the pages of a Bible, creating it from nothing. And they have the ability to create matter from nothing. Goes back to the conversation I had with the lady that only God can create something from nothing. And that is not true. The angels, I have concluded, have the power to create matter from spirit. And this ship that you see there, the silver, I think is real silver, and I think that's gold. and they've created this from spirit. So that's what I wanted to finish that thought. And it's based upon the evidence from Joshua Mills, has also just telling about he can command his angels and they'll create transformed gemstones in a jar that he's got. And then the gemstones shrink in size and disappear. So they have this ability to create. So
And this fella Mills, we would consider him an evangelical pastor who's out there on the internet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice guy. You would really believe him. All about angels, evangelical Christian. That's how he goes by.
Yeah, I watched some of his video, and he seems like a really nice guy. Until I started hearing some of what you're saying that he was saying. I missed this part about he's saying that manna has manifested in his presence or something.
Oh, they're just mocking what it says, but the children of Israel, and God provided manna for them. So on the pages of the Bible, we're talked about that story. At one of his meeting revivals, there was manna being manifested, created on the pages of the Bible, but also
did he eat it? Did he eat it? Is what I want to know. Did he eat that manna? Okay.
Didn't show about eating that manna at the time, but another thing was about creating gold dust. I think it was either gold or silver dust on the Bible, on the pages of the Bible where it talks about gold or silver. And I watched the video, and you can see that it was this silver or gold appearing on the pages of the Bible from nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I saw that video. Yeah. Again, I was not aware that there were ministers. I've heard of people trying to speak in tongues and all that's going on out there. Mm-hmm. But this was new for me, looking up this Mills guy and looking at some of his videos. What he's saying has happened to him, and then what's on some of these videos. Yeah.
Very interesting.
One of the other keys that unlocks the mystery is William Snowball, in his book, I think it's Lucifer Dethroned. He said that at one of the satanic meetings that he was presiding over as a Satan's priest, at the end of the ceremony, a gold medallion was manifested from nothing, and it dropped onto the floor of one of the someone was dedicating herself to Satan or something like that. And it was a gift of the spirit. It was manifested from nothing, and it just popped there, a gold medallion. It's another evidence.
Yeah. So again, I hear what you're saying when you read these stories, but if he's a deceiver, is it possible that, let's say this really happened, that there's some type of deception at play here in what occurred? Do you think that's another possibility?
I suppose, he had a medallion in his pocket.
I hear what you're saying, though.
He dropped it on the floor.
I appreciate your perspective. I guess I know I come from a very skeptical point of view. So it's like, for me, it's like, I wouldn't believe that unless I was there and saw it fall in front of me. Right? Other than that, I'm like, it's a story. It's an interesting story. I'll take it as what it is, as a story. But definitely, it's interesting when you put these together to kind of see, hey, maybe there's something else out there.
That's the key. That's the key, is putting these things together. You take pieces from what the former Satanists said. You take pieces from what the Joshua Mill types at Christian revival meetings and the glory cloud. You take pieces from these different sources, and you go, how is this all possible? Is it related?
Yeah, no, I definitely see how there can be a linkage here, no doubt, with deception. If there's a grand scheme behind all of this, and the Bible alludes to that, he is a master deceiver, and he's going to use all the tools available to him to try to lead us from God. We're starting to get low on time here, John. What do you got to kind of wrap things up? And we'll bring you back because I think we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg here.
We definitely need to have you back, John, because it's very interesting. But just in the last few minutes, just kind of give us some concluding statements so we can, give us something maybe to wait for until next time.
Yeah, so I'll just refer people to my website, johnaldenborough.com. Jeff will put it up on the screen or so.
Here we go.
My book, you can download it from Amazon, sell it for there. And my other book, you'll see there. Maybe we can talk about that in a future interview on Sumerian Genesis and all about the Zechariah Sitchin stuff. But
sure.
Also, I'm working on a third book. So what can people do to protect themselves from unwanted angelic encounters, whether there be ghosts in the house or aliens or voices in your head?
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a book as to how to protect oneself. Now, I just wanted to mention that because it's an issue of, okay, so we know it's demonic. So what are we going to do about it? So, well, this is one of the things that I would like to help people by pointing them in the right direction of how to stop all of these intrusions into your life. So that's what I'm working on.
Hey, that's practical knowledge. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining us today. Definitely an interesting program. Definitely, and we look forward to you coming back on a future program. So, again, thanks again, John, and we will see everybody next week on another edition of Prove All Things. Goodbye for now.